Hello and welcome to the Sacred Rainbow Warrior. Today I am doing a video on a very exciting topic, something I absolutely adore, something I've actually written a book on. I'm about to publish it called The Art of Integration. And I base everything on my own experience and what I've learned through taking the journey of integration. And what I'm going to do here is answer some of the most common questions that I hear and have read about what plant medicine integration is. And there's so many people have a lot of definitions of what integration is. And so I'm going to go into those. But at first, I want to say that integration is profound. If you really understand the process of how integration works, it is profoundly life-changing. So I'm going to use an example on myself on how I have used plant medicine integration to change my life around, to reclaim parts of my life, my soul, my talents, skills, enjoyment through integration. And there truly is an art to it. And there isn't one process, there's multiple, which actually makes it more enjoyable and can make it easier because it gives you choice. And the aim is to really make it easy, is to make it joyful and to make it simple. But essentially what plant medicine integration is, what integration is, the process of integration is to turn your experience into a reality. So I say making your psychedelic dreams a psychedelic reality. And I've heard this from many people. I actually heard it from Joe Rogan as well. Like, what do you actually do with plant medicine? What does it actually do? And if you don't know how to integrate it and go through this process, it's very difficult, and it can just be an experience and not actually make any changes in your life. And there are different medicines as well that the integration just doesn't work with. It's more of a purging integration, just getting it out of your body. Whereas the certain other medicines, it's about embodiment and taking the journey to turn that reality, that experience into action. And that's really what integration is. It's turning knowledge into wisdom. And, something I encountered in the spiritual community, and I say this in my bio, no bypassing here. The spiritual bypassing of preaching. And preaching comes from a place of grandiosity of saying, oh, I know better, but that's not what it is. It's I've stopped here. You haven't learned this. I'm telling you what to do. That's spiritual bypass. But the truth is, we're constantly learning. I'm always learning, always learning. And the the wisdom, knowledge versus wisdom. Knowledge is mental. Wisdom is heart-based. Um, what's the word? Somatic. It's somatic. It's in the body. It's settled in the body. And in order to turn knowledge into wisdom, you have to take steps. And this is what integration is. It's steps of solidification. It's like, for example, um, if I gave you a bunch of Lego and you started telling people I had all this Lego, and they're like, but what is the Lego? And you're like, oh well, it's Lego. You should know what it is. But if the integration is when you know how you have the instructions on how to put that Lego together and it creates something, say, like a ship or a house or something. And you cannot integrate an experience until you've finished putting the pieces together. And in order to put the pieces together, you have to take steps towards that. And there's so many different ways of doing that. Processing visions, emotions, and realizations. There's these key areas of integration. There's the mental side of the visions, the realizations, and the thought patterns, and then there's the emotional side of navigating the deep feelings that are surfacing. That's probably one of the most difficult parts of integration, and the one of the most biggest changes, most helpful parts of that you can introduce into integration and making it real is the physical side. So adjusting your lifestyle, changing your diet, exercising. Exercising is one of the most powerful pillars. If there are three pillars of integration, one of them would be exercise, because I spoke about this in my one of my warrior sessions in episode 3 with Steve. I call it exorcising, because you're exorcising your demons when you go to exercise, and it removes attachments, and attachments. You can personify those as entities, and the heat and pain of exercise expels them from the body, and you drink water and you put a new purification in and you're washing that out. And then there's the spiritual side of it, which is aligning yourself with your soul more and more, your own spiritual beliefs, rather than outer beliefs. Like I spoke about this in the overcoming the antidote to devil worship, religious trauma syndrome. So it's so fascinating. So I'm writing a book on it. There's so much to talk about that. I'm actually writing 4 books, because it's so profound and it's so much fun. It's like my go-to. It's what I'm best at, and I combine it with animal wisdom. That's why I find it really exciting. So I feel really excited to being service to bring this information to you, and I hope it can really make some profound changes in your life for you, because that's what it did for me. So, question number 2: why is integration important after a plant medicine ceremony? Well, like I said about preaching, if it's just an experience for you, then you're not going to get the gifts of what the plant medicine is trying to bring you. So, um, I have to take my jumper off. I'm really hot. One moment. I decided to keep it on. Okay, so where was I? So, yeah, why is integration important after a medicine ceremony? So, um, question number 2: why is integration important after a plant medicine ceremony? Well, the importance of this is, like I said earlier, it's about turning an experience into a reality. And without integration, the insights just fade. It's like I've noticed this many times with people who work with ayahuasca. Ayahuasca expands and opens your heart so much that it can take about, in my experience, about 6 weeks for you to return back to how you felt before the medicine. And I've noticed some people have made grand gestures of, let's say, love that they have regretted, asking someone to marry them, or saying, "Oh, I'm cured. I've done this. I've done that." There's too many expectations on what plant medicine can deliver, and I did this myself. I remember the first time I ever took plant medicine, I thought it was going to cure um, the complex post-traumatic stress disorder and bipolar I had in one go. I took Bufo, and it just launched me out of a cannon into the universe, and I woke up and I was crying, and I went, "Oh, it didn't work, it didn't work." And I can laugh now, but at the time I was devastated, because I was looking for the silver bullet, but the silver bullet is always the one you pick up last, because you have to take the journey of self-worthiness. And I don't know if you don't know, the silver bullet is an analogy of the werewolf. It's about killing uh, the unconscious behavior, so the ego. And the silver bullet is the antidote to overcoming that and coming more into alignment with your own mentorship of your soul and following your own path. And I've already spoken about spiritual bypassing, but it's really important to really understand what spiritual bypassing is, because it's essentially the having these deep realizations of toxic shame. Let's say, narcissism is toxic shame avoidance, and if we don't act on healing those, we start expressing that through narcissistic behavior. So it's extremely important to integrate that which has happened in ceremony. And any ceremony should always end, excuse me, which every ceremony should always end on a good note. Should always end on a high note. If it doesn't, that means there's something seriously wrong. And the I offer a free plant medicine integration guide online, and I offer coaching on this because there's there's a there's a specific process on how to work ceremonially with the energies of the soul from beginning to end, and there is preparation, and there's before, there's during, and there's after, and there's a lot of common pitfalls that people go through, and one of those is spiritual bypassing. And the antidote is responsibility. You take responsibility for everything. If there's finger pointing or blaming, then there's no responsibility. And with responsibility comes forgiveness and compassion. And if you don't know how to do that, um, I can offer that as coaching, but it's really a process of holding space with someone or someone holding space with you so that you are able to share that, get it out your system and learn what it truly is, what it's truly trying to show you. Because essentially you should be doing the opposite of what the ego is telling you. Always go in the opposite direction of the ego. Um, Another one is confusion and overwhelm, struggling to understand the experience. I can help explain that, but um, essentially it's always to just release, just keep surrendering, releasing attachment, because as soon as you want to know what was that about, what was that about, it's gonna hang on to you, and it's gonna start to distort or rot, like a rotting fruit. It will go off, and so you have to let it go, and then it will come back to you, and then you will finally understand. I experienced some things in when I first started my journey that I'm still learning what they are now. So it can take years to learn certain things, and um, some of them are so profound, so big that they take a long time to land. And that's why integration is so important, because you have to make space in the body for that to land. The mind is faster than the body. The consciousness of the mind is really fast. It's like, yeah, I got it, I got it, I got it. But has the mind got it? Sorry, has the body got it? And the answer will always be no, because it takes a lot longer, you know, to grasp a meaning, a metaphysical vision. You can get that, you can ask for help, and you can understand it mentally. But in order to embody it, it can take a day, it can take weeks, it can take months, or it can take years. And it just really depends on how important that healing is for you and your journey. Another one is a common pitfall is returning to old patterns, so falling back into unhealthy behaviors. And all of these common threads, they happen to everyone. And it's the antidote is to just really go easy on yourself, because as soon as you start being hard on yourself, you're going to suffer even more, and it's going to cause a lot of disruption in your life. And like I said from the very beginning, the goal of integration is to create ease, to create a path of ease. And there's so much to say on this. There's so much to say, and that's why I'm writing a book about it, because I could speak for hours on this, because the patterns of our behavior, of our emotional behavior, are based on so many different aspects. You can talk about your lifetime, this lifetime where you're parenting, and everything that happened to your childhood, the interactions that you have with other people, past lifetimes, Akashic, society, work, accidents. There's just so much, and it all comes together like a web that's all connected to your soul. And integration really helps you align your thoughts, patterns, and emotional behavior, and your physicality to allow you to essentially be happy and live a joyful life. But if you don't know how to integrate, it creates blockages and attachments, and that's when it can get quite dangerous. And I've done many videos on the true meaning of suicidal thoughts and suicide, because I took the difficult route of integration, but I knew that I would be able to teach this, so I just never gave up. But there were so many times that I heard those suicidal thoughts, thousands, absolutely thousands, and it was very difficult to overcome. And I had some very difficult times, and I can tell you through experience that you don't have to live that. I can help through that, because I know why I went through that now, and it wasn't something that I had to take responsibility for, but I did. it was actually somebody else causing me heartache that was giving me those um, suicidal thoughts. And the antidote is to understand that it's about ego death. It's a spiritual death, not a physical death. So if you're feeling really low and you're feeling like that, then there's this ignition needed, something different in your integration path that needs to come in to allow the ego death. Because if you just continue on the same path that you normally do, that ego death can't happen because each expression of your ego needs a different form of integration. I'll give you an example. I found it really difficult to learn to draw, and I didn't understand why. I went back into my cache, and there was loads of weird things that were coming up, like I'd had my hands cut off. And so there was trauma related to that. Allegedly, that's what happened. I haven't felt that yet, but there was so much that I had to go through, and I had to I had to I had to take the journey with it. I had to take the journey with sorry, excuse me. I had to take the journey with learning how to integrate that, because when it came up, it was so painful that I would try to draw something and it wouldn't look like I wanted it to, and I would have a full-on tantrum because that wounding was happened when I was young, and so it brought up that inner child in me, and so I would throw my paper and my pencils across the room like a child, and it was really narcissistic behavior. And so I had to be really gentle with myself, because as soon as I was hard on myself, and throwing stuff across the room is an analogy of that. That's being hard on myself, losing my temper. It took me years to understand the process of forgiveness and how I can just switch from, oh, wish I hadn't have done that, to, oh, I forgive myself. I'm learning. That was, speaking out loud to myself is really beautiful antidote. I'm really sorry I did that to myself. I'm having a hard time understanding why this is so difficult for me. And taking the journey of learning to draw, I wanted it to happen overnight. Just like the silver bullet, I wanted to be cured just overnight. But I'm still learning to draw now. And it's about enjoying the journey, enjoying the process. And most people don't want to hear that. I didn't want to hear that. But when you really integrate and understand the journey and realize that the journey is a personification of who you are, your own journey, and you treat that journey like you treat yourself, it's it makes life so much fun. So there's some powerful wisdom for you. Question number 3. How long does plant medicine integration take? Well, I think I've already answered that. It can take as long as it wants to take, and it all depends on you. Some things are really big and take a very long time, especially soul gifts. But you know, the what makes it go faster are the different methods of integration. Like there's so many I can say, but I'll start with journaling. Journaling's really good because you're replacing the dark thoughts. Let's say, for example, you're journaling your dark thoughts. You're replacing them dark thoughts by writing nice thoughts, writing gratitude or something like that. But you can also write out your dark thoughts and burn them. There's so many things you can do to get it out of you. But essentially, what you're doing is you're exchanging lies, you're exchanging distortions and darkness with light and truth and love. That's what integration is. So going back to question 1 there. But question 3, how long does it take? It can take weeks, it can take months. So everybody's journey is unique, and it is a lifelong process. Like I said, it's about enjoying the journey. Um, that actually came to me in a ceremony. I was just really profound. The Gosh, I can't remember what it was, but I just remember the journey came to me, the journey, and it said that I had finished the journey. And I'm gonna write about this because it's to do with the Wizard of Oz, the yellow brick road. And afterwards, I was able to create my own journey, and that's what I'm on now, taking my own journey. And this is the process. I can guide you from. You don't have to take that matrix journey and just start taking your own journey, but it is a process. Question number 4. What are the best practices for integrating a plant medicine experience? Right. So I've spoke about journaling and reflection. That's amazing. I'll also add into journaling higher self writing. So higher self journaling. This is really good fun and extremely profound. And the best way is to practice. You can just close your eyes, make yourself really still, Pen to paper is good, but I can do it through typing. It's how I actually do my He Lives podcast. I channel write. And essentially, what I do is I went through a process of purification. At first, sometimes I would be writing my ego and it would say horrible things, but there's a process of learning, and you can start channeling that part of yourself, that part of your heart, with your higher self. And it's just a practice. Just close your eyes and what comes up and just start writing. And don't delete it, leave it, come back to it or read it there and then. But you'll start to get some beautiful guidance. But the way I do it, I would say, please, dear soul, please can we channel right together? Please can you answer my questions? And I would answer a question, then I'd be like and just write pages, and all of a sudden I'm like, wow. Meditation and breath work is a good one. So um, the difficulty in meditation, though, I will say it's not essential, but it is really powerful. The difficulty of meditation is that if you have gone up into the mind, which is very typical of a man, um, after a medicine experience, and you're not in your heart, then meditation can be very difficult to help ground you because of the fidgeting and the overwhelm of so many thoughts. So breath work is extremely important. I think breath work is one of the pillars of integration, because it's not just about, for example, Wim Hof or breathing. It's about relaxation and allowing the attachments to flow through you. Because if you notice when you experience anxiety or fear, the first thing to tense up is the stomach and the diaphragm. And if you're holding your breath, that means you're holding on to something. So it's really important to learn to breathe properly with a relaxed stomach and a relaxed diaphragm. And the deeper the breaths, the better. So say, for example, I'd said something, I was holding on to something really toxic. I could just go and blow it out like that. And all of us, already, like me just doing that now, because I'm in front of a camera, there's a certain small amount of anxiety of recording myself, because it's something I'm learning to express myself. Is this good? Is people going to listen to this? And I can just go like that, and it brings relaxation. So that's a really powerful tool. And you can do that if for example you suffer from anxiety and you're out and about. Like for example, when I'm in the supermarket, I'm like another one is so number three, community and support. Uh, yeah, holding space is important. I started with I didn't know how to identify my emotions, and so I started working with a professional psychotherapist, and I went beyond psychotherapy because the psychotherapy that was taught to me was really mental. And I think that's a thing that society tries to promote to us. And I think it's more, I know it's more heart-based, because psych actually means soul, and psychedelic means to reveal the soul. And they want us in the mind because it stops us from being in the heart. And when we're in the heart, we find the truth. So it's important to be held by somebody who knows how to hold you in your heart. And there needs to be no judgment, no manipulation, no coercion, no forcing, no control. And again, I offer these services because holding space is very challenging for someone who hasn't been through the process of cleaning and purifying their vessel. So, but having friends, having a support, I recommend. There's an online group for men that I work with called Men Who Talk. It's free. So if you need someone to talk to, that was very good for me, because you need to mirror yourself. That's a really important process of integration. You need to mirror yourself. I do this work with my partner, the opposite sex. Working with the opposite sex is so powerful. That's why this I was able to go so deep and so far with my medicine work and my integration work, is because I was able to work in divine union. It gives a whole new thread, a whole new point of view, a whole new reality to what is possible. And it really can't be explained in so many words. It has to be felt and experienced. And I talk about that more in my other channel with my partner, Prophecy Walkers. Nature, number four. So being out in nature and silence. So being out in nature is really profound because nature spirits help you get rid of attachments, but it's also about slowing down, slowing your movement. Like fast movement, like running and stuff, that's part of exercise. That's also good, but the opposite is really powerful. Like the story of the tortoise and the hare. The tortoise actually wins the race. So it's about slowing down, and when you slow down, you're able to come more into your heart and feel your body. That's why I did a video about ADHD, because ADHD is from being in the mind too much, from not being in the heart. And ADHD forces us out because we're afraid of the shame that's being hidden within the heart. And ADHD is just a term, but it's actually an entity. It's actually an entity um, that if we believe latches onto. And I went through those attachments. I went through so many different attachments, and slowing down is really triggering for the ego. And if you can slow down enough, meditation's a really good one for this, or yoga, but really slow. Like I always found, like yoga in classes, a teacher would always bang it out in an hour, and I was like, an hour and a half is needed because it needs to be slower, and it helps stuff just release from the body. So slowness is a really good one by walking in nature, and the silence. When you're walking in nature and and you're not talking to someone, you're on your own. You can start to receive your own intuition, your inner guidance, and divine information. So that's really powerful as well. Another huge one is making lifestyle adjustments. So I I always say, and it's very difficult to say to someone who's really deep in it. I've worked with people who are on the brink of ending it all, and you can't just say to someone, "Oh, just make some changes to your life." Sometimes it's just a purging process and listening. But really, the most profound thing you can do in integration to change your life is to take action and actually walk your talk. Or as I say on our Prophecy Walkers podcast, walk the squawk, and really take action and change your life. Like I did this profoundly when I was living in London, just before I started my spiritual journey. I started making really profound changes in my life. I completely changed my diet by removing alcohol, sugar, and polyunsaturated fats. Those are the three main things that I knew were destroying my body. And it had a profound effect on my being and my emotional wellness, my mental wellness, my spiritual wellness, everything. And it changed my life. And exercise, I was doing Pilates, I was doing yoga, I was doing calisthenics, I was running, I was doing martial arts. And all of these things are all different expressions of integration. And the more of yourself that you can express, the quicker you can quantum through anything. So that's a really powerful one. Another one is shadow work. I think that's bread and butter, the working through your unprocessed traumas and shames, not suppressing them. Like I said, I use breath work to breathe them out. But for me, sharing has always been the most powerful form. Sharing in front of somebody, being witnessed, and allowing to grieve whatever it is that wants to come through. Profound. And number seven, I'm going to end on seven for that because this is going on for quite a long time. I'm getting pretty tired. Is creation. This is the most powerful form of integration, creation. And the reason we can't create is because of the blockages that we are trying to integrate out of our body. So, like I said, drawing, that's a form of creation. Dancing is actually a form of movement, but it's also can be a form of creation. Um, Creating music, whatever you're passionate about creating, if you are stuck in an emotion, create through it, write through it, um, paint, draw, uh, design. Don't turn to a form of escapism like playing computer games or going out for a meal or drinking alcohol or whatever. If you're finding it difficult to create, then that's the whole point. That's the whole point of integration, is that you need to create because that is your integration. If you avoid it, you're not integrating and it's just an experience. Okay. Last question, number five. What's the difference between preparation, intention, and integration? So preparation is how you prepare yourself for the ceremony. So cleansing yourself, diet, body, mind, etc. Not watching violent stuff, not watching the news. Shouldn't do that anyway. But preparation is you can never be prepared enough, in my humble opinion. And one thing I always say is candles. I make my own candles, but lighting a candle, having a candle, extremely important because it's pure light. And setting intentions is a form of reverence. So setting an intention is not an expectation. It's important to say that expectations are the thief of joy, and it's just an intention to say, I would like to experience or heal this part of myself. So I would, one of my favorite intentions is, or prayers is, what would spirit like me to heal today? And whenever I've done that, it's been profoundly life-changing, profoundly life-changing. And cleansing the body and mind is really important before and after any ceremony. And understanding, I think for me, preparation is about getting in that right state of relaxation and joyous feeling. If you're not feeling joyful and you're trying to force something, then it's better to wait. But if you're feeling avoidance, that probably means some healing is needed. But if you're feeling joy, that means you're going to have a lot of fun. Um, Integration is really what happens after the ceremony. Like I say, it's everything that happens after. It's about turning your experience into a reality. And the more devotion, the more devoted you are to your integration, the quicker your whole life will change. But just remember that everything I've just told you, there's so much more to it. Just remember that this is just the beginning. The journey is, the journey doesn't end. It's because it's not about a destination. It never has been. It's about embodiment of your soul. I talk about this. I call this the innate. If you listen to, I don't know if you've listened to Cryon. Cryon talks about the innate. The innate is the smart body. It's the unlocking of all of our DNA. Like that movie where he takes that pill and he unlocks his full intelligence. That's real. And this is where integration can get you. True transformation and healing can happen for anything. And through my own experience, I've healed injuries. You listen to my podcast on the wasp about my shoulder, and it can go even deeper and more profound than that. But I won't speak about that on YouTube because I'll probably be censored. But there's some really profound changes you can make. So I'm just going to say that my coaching services are available, and I really hope that you can really be patient enough with yourself and support yourself and trust that your journey is unfolding exactly as it's supposed to. But I just want to say that I'm like a shortcut. I'm a catalyst on your journey. If you want to make quantum leaps, I can help you make that happen. And finally, I just want to say that this video, as a disclaimer, is just for educational and informational purposes only. It does not promote, encourage, or endorse the illegal use of any plant medicine or any substances. And this is being shared based on my own experience. Always research any local laws, consult a qualified professional who making any health-related decisions. Viewer discretion is advised. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.